So the Utah Jazz have a pretty good thing going on right now. It starts with Donovan Mitchell, who this season looked like a 5-year veteran leading his team to the second round of the playoffs. And then you got defensive juggernaut Rudy Gobert, who will provide rim protection and team identity, while Mitchell can provide more of the offense. And these two are great, but you got to start thinking, what's it going to take for the Jazz to get to that next level, right? Where right now they're one of the better teams in the NBA, but can they become an elite team? And I think one way that could happen is if Dante Exum realizes the potential that so many NBA scouts bestowed on him when he was coming into the league. And the worst part about it is the reason why he hasn't gotten to that point yet. I mean, it's not really his fault. The guy has had some injuries. He missed a whole season due to an injury, and he missed basically this entire year that we just finished, at least for Utah's sake. And when you look at his physical profile of 6'6", around 200 pounds, does have to gain some weight, but still, the dude is taller than your average point guard. His handle, while it does need some improvement, has shown to be pretty good already. And then you combine that with how good of an athlete he is, and it seems like he can be a dude who can attack NBA defenses and finish at the basket and draw fouls and all that, and hopefully finish through contact in time. It just seems like he can be a really good player, and he could be the third star that the Jazz need. However, I do think there is some fear that he may never get there, some of this being just because of his injuries and the setbacks he's had on top of just Utah's team. And are they willing to give him time, or do they want to kind of speed up the process? I think we should also talk about his defense. He's got a lot of potential there. And I think he and Donovan Mitchell, while they could be a dynamic duo offensively, I think defensively they could do something as well, because, I mean, Mitchell's 6'4", but he's strong as hell, and he doesn't give up too much effort on that side of the floor. And then you combine that with Exum being 6'6", you got Crowder, who can defend a few positions, and then with Rudy Gobert's rim protection, Exum could just add to what Utah does, as they're already basically the best defensive team in the league, you know? And then I mentioned it a little bit earlier, him and Mitchell playing off of each other. I think Exum with the ball and Mitchell playing off of him would probably go smoothly, whereas on the flip side, when you have Mitchell with the ball in his hands and Exum playing off the ball, I think there's still potential there. Definitely, like within Quinn Snyder's system, you could find some things in terms of like Exum cutting to the basket, or just ways that he can kind of get a seam to the rim, get himself ahead of steam and all that. But I also believe that, you know, we'll talk about it, it's not the most natural thing for Exum. But we also have to mention Ricky Rubio, who's also a point guard, who eventually figured it out for the Jazz, as their lineups with Rubio and Gobert and Mitchell were actually good. You'd think that because Rubio can't shoot that they would have problems there, but while it was rocky to start the season, it ended up being really productive towards the end. So do you want to give Exum X amount of dollars and have him eventually take over Rubio's spot? I don't know. There's also the fact that Exum still has some things to work on. His outside jumper is not the best. And this goes back to what I was saying before. Mitchell is going to have the ball in his hands a lot of the time, as he should, right? And you're going to need guys who can space the floor and knock down threes for that to really work. And if Exum is never going to be able to really do that, then is he the right guy next to Mitchell? Well, like I just mentioned, Rubio's been able to make it work, so there's a chance that sticking Exum in the corner, one, that might not even be what Quinn Snyder does, because they might have a more imaginative offense than that. But number two, he might be able to just make it work anyway, whether that's attacking on closeouts or just being a better three-point shooter. Who really knows, but I wouldn't rule it out, you know? The other fear with Exum is, can he play within a real system? Because overseas, he was good at breaking down defenses, and when the offense was kind of like his, he was able to just do really well. But on Utah's game plan, he's got to move the ball, he's got to play off the ball, he's got to cut, he's got to set off ball screens, and can he do all those things? And is Utah willing to work with him on those things? I mean, these are a lot of questions to answer, and his restricted free agency is really interesting because I think there are some bad teams who maybe would entertain the idea of throwing a little extra money at Exum, thinking that they can get themselves a real player. Like, you look at the Atlanta Hawks, right? Maybe they feel that Dante Exum could end up being better than the point guard they have now with Dennis Schroeder. While I don't think Exum is better than Dennis Smith, maybe there's a chance that the Mavericks feel like Exum could play off the ball, they could play together at times, who really knows. I would not be surprised if some bad team that is years away from contention threw $11 million at Exum and just said, why not? Let's see what we got here, And the Jazz may not be comfortable with matching that. Another team is the Orlando Magic, who are looking for a point guard, and they've been looking for one for a while, really. The Phoenix Suns, maybe they feel like Devin Booker could play off of Exum well, and you'd have enough shooting with him there. And, of course, they're going to have the number one pick in the draft. You could end up getting 2 young players to be excited about in the offseason. Who knows? But with Exum, you see the height, the athleticism, the ball handling, which does still need to get a little bit better, but it's pretty okay right now. And then you hope that he can round all that out with 1, being healthy, 2, being able to play within a system, and 3, having a jump shot. He could be a really quality NBA backcourt player, but whether Utah is actually willing to let that happen or if they want to speed up the process, we'll just have to see.